Okay, here we go. I am making y'all some miso soup today. Very non-traditional miso soup. In fact, the only thing that's miso soup about this miso soup is the fact that I'm using miso broth in it. And that's about it. I'm trying to get experimental, and I had some broth, and I had some chicken, and I had a lot of stuff that I wanted to use to make a soup with, and so I decided that I was going to go ahead and do that. And I made like traditional chicken noodle soup last time, and that was fine, it was good. But when I was going to the store, I was like, I don't want to make chicken noodle soup again. Like, I have the means to make soup, but, like, why make the same soup twice, you know? And you can make a different soup once, and a different soup another time. And so that is what I decided to do. So, I was feeling miso, and I decided that that's the kind of soup I'm going to make. But like I said, it's not a traditional miso soup by any means. It is quite literally me just throwing stuff together and using miso broth in the stuff that I'm throwing together. And if that ain't wonderful, then I don't know what is. And that's all I got to say about that. Excuse me. Every time I make soups, the noodles always absorb the broth, and it becomes very not soupy soup, and that's disappointing, as you might imagine. And so I always put a crap load of broth in my soups in an attempt to make them a little less, or make them more soupy. I got this sesame oil that I was thinking about throwing in here too, but I think I'm gonna stick to my thought. This is chicken broth, no, chicken stock. I have chicken stock. I've had this just kind of floating around for a while now, so I'm gonna throw that in there too. See how these flavors mold. Hopefully I don't make something that's just completely disgusting and you all are like, what is wrong with you? Because I don't know that I've ever done that before, actually. I don't know that I've ever made something that was completely inedibly disgusting, but anything is possible. I'm going to try and find me a spoon here, stir this up just a little bit. I made chicken earlier, and it was frozen, so I couldn't season it, and so I have to put it in something that is very well seasoned in order for it to be good, so to speak. And I always struggle with things sticking to the bottom of this Dutch oven. And I think someone told me you're supposed to like oil it a bunch so that the oil becomes like part of it. And maybe that's the thing, and maybe that's the thing that I'm not doing that's ruining it. But at any rate, I am going to now move the camera and attempt to capture myself chopping onions. And so let's move the camera over here and get a good vantage point on that onion. I feel like that's a good solid shot on the onion. I could probably zoom a little more. That's a good shot on the onion. And let's get all this background noise out of here. Now, I do not often cut myself when cutting things, but watch me cut myself when cutting this onion because it's on film, and everybody's gonna be like, oh my gosh, that guy doesn't know what he's doing, he's such a dummy. And that's not true. I know what I'm doing. I'm no dummy. I just make mistakes sometimes like everybody else. And I gotta watch these onions get all sorts of oniony on me, and they make me cry, and so I gotta hope that I can avoid that. I got like really bad like allergy eyes, and where was I going with that? I think that makes it like sometimes I will cut up an onion so much, or like it'll mess my eyes up so much that I like have to go in the shower and wash my eyes out. Otherwise, like, I cannot see or do anything. And so that has been an experience that I've had multiple times. But so far, this seems like it's pretty okay. I just so happen to have this onion. I bought it for something else, and I didn't use it for that something else. So what it is I usually buy too much onion. I buy a whole bunch of onion for a small recipe. I think I bought it for, no, it wasn't for guac, because I wouldn't have bought 2 whole onions for guac. I have a tendency to overbuy onions, yes, but I would not buy 2 whole onions for a thing of guacamole. So I don't know what I bought this for, but I know that I bought it for something and I didn't use it, and so now I'm gonna go ahead and use it here with my miso soup. So I feel like onion is one of the best, making a mess. Anyway, I feel like onion is one of the best flavors in the world, and it's one of the best ingredients to work with in terms of making flavors. And so I should probably cut this from or film this from another direction, because you guys are all you're seeing is my hand. That's no fun. And so it's all a learning experience. I don't film myself very often. Well, that's not really true anymore. I film myself quite a bit, but I'm learning the better camera angles by which to film myself. How about that? Because, like I just said, y'all are pretty much just seeing my hand when I go to work on this onion, and that's no fun. Like, you want to see the onion actually getting chopped up. You want to see me doing what I do, and if I get it from a different angle, then you get to see that. So that's what I'll do. I'll give it to you from a different angle so you can see it. Right now I'm just trying to get it cut up real nice and fine. This is something that I started doing. I don't use any sort of official chopping method. Like, if you're a chef and you're watching me, you're like, oh my gosh, what is this guy doing? You call this chopping onions? I call it making a mess. And I'm like, hey, as long as the onions make it in the miso and they're chopped good enough, I'm happy. I don't need them to be perfectly chopped. My brother's wife really knows how to chop vegetables. She is a magician at chopping vegetables, and I envy her ability to do that. I just chop things until I feel like they're chopped enough to put in things, and that's my motto. Alright, so let's go ahead and move the camera so that you guys can see it from the opposite angle. Now that I've done all this work to make this a good shot, a pretty shot, let me move it over here. I have to turn the viewfinder around, and then let's see here. What can't you see? You can kind of see this raspberry sherbet. Get that out of the shot. You can honestly move this onion more like that. Can I get the tile out of the shot? What if I zoom? It's pretty zoomed in right now. There. I think that'll be good. Alright. I think this will be a good angle for us to shoot at. I didn't move the original camera, and so that's just not looking at anything right now, which is great, I'm sure. Oh, the onion's not cooperating now. It's like, oh, you got a good camera angle? Look at this. I'm going to make you look like a big dummy. Let's see. Now I can see the camera. There it is. It's like I can see the camera, and I can see that the camera does not have a good view of what I'm doing. And that defeats the purpose. I moved it so that it could have a good view. So I got to make sure we stay in view here. I'm going to have to put up like tape or something so that I can mark where my camera needs to be, and let's get some good old shred onions. Shred onions. But yeah, I'm quite literally just going to throw these onions into the miso ramen, and then I'm going to boil them, and then it'll give the broth a yummy, oniony flavor. And like I've said before, I love working with onions. And so, any chance that I get to put some onions in something, I'm going to do it. And it's going to be good, it's going to be great, and that's all I got to say about that. I don't know, this channel that I'm making is a bit of a variety show, ain't it? Sometimes I cook stuff, and sometimes I do other stuff. This is a very sloppy cut. You guys got to see the ugly cuts from a pretty angle. Like, all the ugly cuts I did are from this angle. You guys are probably like, oh my gosh, what's he going to do? He's going to destroy his hand. I have wonderful control over my hands, so there's no need to be nervous about me cutting stuff. There's like some skin on this onion that I'm trying to get rid of. I'm determined. Woo-wee. Almost there. Hey, can you guys see me peeling away at this? No, all you see is my hands. That's the problem with this detailed work, is I feel like most of the time all you see is my hands. But I'm trying to get you guys some good camera angles. Now, how did that onion get back in there? Just gonna kind of make it work. All right. Can you see good? Chop this bad boy up, and then we're gonna go ahead and turn them around, chop them up again, and then we're gonna use the whole serrate technique that I developed over generations of chopping onions. I have perfected my onion chopping technique, and I just do this until they're nice and small and chunky and not chunky. And then I'm going to throw them in a pot of miso broth, and it's going to be a miso chicken onion broth, and it's going to be good. And that's how that's going to work. Sometimes I cook, sometimes, well, actually a lot of the times I'm just driving home or to and from work with these videos. That's why I try to get as many different styled videos as I possibly can to try and give you all some variety, because I don't know that watching me drive to and from work is all that exciting. If YouTube algorithms shown me anything, it's that it's not all that exciting, because not that very many people are watching. And so hopefully a cooking show might be more easy to appeal to people. And that's kind of part of this. Like, right now, I'm in the experimental stage. I don't know what people want to see, what they don't want to see, what they like, what they don't like. They apparently like me going off in the woods and complaining about work, because that's gotten the most amount of views. But I don't really know, like, if people liked it or if that's just the one that people have watched a lot. Because, yes, it got a lot of views and a lot of attention, but, like, it didn't get very much engagement. And that's what I'm trying to find. Like, what video can I make that's going to get the most engagement out of my audience? And so, hopefully, I can find a video type where the audience is, like, super engaged and super into what's going on. And until then, I am just going to continue to do what I'm doing here. Alright, so that's the end of that onion. I'm going to toss it in the soup like I said I was going to do. I'm not going to turn the heat on yet, because I think I'm going to throw some, what else am I going to throw in there? Green onions, too. Because most every miso soup I think I've ever eaten has green onions. It also has tofu, but I'm not doing the tofu thing. I don't mind tofu. I don't dislike it. I don't particularly like it either. I feel like it's just kind of flavorless glue. And, but I'm just not going to do that. And that's probably going to be the biggest non-traditional thing I'm doing with my miso ramen, is that I'm putting chicken in there. Or it's not even ramen, sorry, it's just miso soup. Well, it has noodles, which I don't think miso soup traditionally has noodles. I feel like it's traditionally not with noodles. Let's see. Gotta try and find a good angle here. There, I think that'll do me. Alright. Throw this stuff back behind here so it's not in the middle of the shot. And you can still kind of see it, but that's alright. Alright. So, what we're going to do now is we are going to take the onions and toss them bad boys into the broth that I have made. And then I'm going to chop up the green onions and I am going to throw them in the broth. Then I'm going to boil the broth. And while I boil the broth, I don't know what I'll do while I boil the broth. I'll think about that when the time comes, I suppose. I gotta add chicken to it at some point. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. Once it gets to a boil, I gotta put the noodles in. I got these fancy noodles that are like egg noodles, but they always break up whenever I toss them in a and whenever I toss them in a soup or anything. And I was like, what's the point in that? Why do these noodles just break? They're all brittle and lame. And so what I'm probably going to do is, what am I going to do? I don't know. I lost train of mind. Oh, I'm going to let them sit. I'm going to let them sit in this boiling pot and see if that loosens them up enough to where they don't break and get all lame when I try to use them. So this is frustrating. It's like, I want noodles. I don't want whatever the heck you call a broken noodle. I don't want that. I want a noodle. Alright. So that is all of the onion. Then I'm going to chop up the green onion. Toss the green onion in there. Then I'm going to bring the soup to a boil. Let it boil. Then I'm going to toss the noodles in there. And then I'll probably chop up the chicken and toss in the mushrooms. And we'll have ourselves a nice batch. Ooh, I spilled some. Did you see that on camera? You didn't see that, did you? I'll have a nice batch of my own version of miso soup. Alright, so let us take this camera back to where it was. This big boy camera is getting a workout here, and the little guy camera, the old camera, is just kind of chilling. He's like, you know what? This ain't so bad, because I get to just chill out and do my own thing while the new camera gets put to work. I don't want to zoom in quite that much. There. Alright, now you can find my green onions and chop up my green onions. I don't use green onions that often in recipes. I was looking for them because, like I said, I almost always have green onions in my like ramen soup or miso soup or whichever. And the guy was all, and I couldn't find them. And I was like, where are you guys? You guys got green onions? And he's like, we may not because we haven't got our produce truck in yet. And I was like, well, ain't that a shame? Well, they did have green onions. I just am blind and couldn't see them. Oh, there's 2 rubber bands on these things. Alright. So, let's see if I can do something cool with these green onions and, like, get all the ends chopped off of them. That wasn't as cool as I hoped. I'm sure there's going to be some chef on here who's going to watch this and be like, what is this man doing? And I'm going to be like, I'm cooking stuff, you know? Don't judge me because I cook stuff. I wonder how far up on the green onion-y thing I'm supposed to go. Like, do you eat this part of the green onion? This is... let's just cut it all. Yeah? I feel like part of this, like, neck part up here is not something that people normally eat. But I could be wrong. I don't really know. I don't work with green onions all that much. Y'all tell me, how much of the green onion do you all chop up? Did I just waste a bunch of green onion over here? I could taste it, and if it tastes gross, then I probably shouldn't put it in my soup. That's a good judgment right there. Taste it, and if it's gross, don't put it in your soup. I'm expecting a call from a friend at some point in time this morning. I don't know when he's going to call me. And hopefully it's not while I'm in the middle of recording stuff. But if it is, I guess I'll just adjust and figure it out. I've gotten phone calls while recording before, and I just kind of make it work. Alright, so we're looking at potentially having that much green onion. I want to try some of this green onion leaf, though. I mean, it's got okay flavor. It's not gross. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. And like I said, I'll throw it outside. And some animal will find it and be like, "What are you doing? Throwing this gold away?" I'll be like, "I wasn't throwing it away. I was giving it to you, Mr. Animal." I think I like that shot. Okay, green onion time. And then it's time to turn up the heat. Turn up the heat. Gonna make it nice and hot in here with my miso soup. So I'm gonna eat on this for the week. This is my meal prep. We'll see if it actually lasts all week. I have a really bad habit of meal prepping, and then on like Thursday or something, it'll be gone. And then I have to try and get something on Friday, which is a dangerous thing to do because you know it's Friday and the whole mentality of Friday is like, oh, it's a party day, it's a nice day, treat yourself. And so then I buy something and I'm like, oh, I just wasted money on food, gross. So at any rate, I have a friend who said that he hates buying gas and he hates buying food because it's like a never-ending thing. And I was like, honestly, like food's one of the few things that I like expect to always have to buy. And like you can enjoy food, so like there's no reason to dread the fact that you have to have food. Like that doesn't seem right. I officially turned the heat on this broth here. So we'll see what happens as it starts to heat up and hopefully gets to a boil. I hope that it'll boil up and then the onions will start to cook and the onions will start to flavor the broth, and then I can just add the noodles to it and it'll be really yummy in my tummy. And then I've got mushrooms and I've got chicken that needs to go in here. I bought 2 things of mushrooms and I don't know if that's going to be too much or not, but I can always put one in now and put the next in later. So that is what's going on. I made some Cajun shrimp the other night and that was really tasty. And so like I said, I might just abandon the whole whatever's going on that I'm trying to do and just be a chef. A buddy of mine seemed to encourage that. He was like, yeah, he's like, you like cooking and it sounds like the stuff you make is good, so he's like, maybe you should try that. Especially like I said, these are the videos that tend to succeed the most. Like people like food, and so when you show them food, they're like, ooh, food, yes please. And so maybe this is my future. Maybe all the fiction writing in the world does not compare to food. And maybe I can find a way to make a recipe book. And it'll be like a recipe fiction book. And like each recipe will have its own story. And that will be cool. The heat is starting to go. Can you guys hear the heat? I think you can hear the heat, yeah. I got some really good. These are decent. I shouldn't say decent. These are good mics. Not entirely sure. One of them has a heck of a time. Like it doesn't connect to the computer. And then like the last time I was filming with this camera. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. I'll guess that's my friend.